Did you know that one of the leading causes of preventable death in the United States is massive blood loss? You may have heard me talk about my oldest son almost died from massive blood loss several years ago. So it's been one of my goals over the last several years to try to convince everybody that watches my videos to carry a tourniquet with them on their person at all times. But I get it. Most tourniquets, at least many tourniquets, are big and bulky and just they're hard to carry in your everyday life without making some pretty big changes in the way you do things. So I've been trying to find the perfect, best everyday carry tourniquet for quite a while now. We've looked at several on the channel, but they've all got a few drawbacks here and there. It's always a compromise. Well, I think I may have found the perfect everyday carry tourniquet that checks all the boxes and solves all the compromises. And we're going to take a look at it today. I'm talking about this ETQ everyday carry tourniquet from the folks at Snakestaff Systems. We're going to test this thing, kind of show you the details, compare it to one of the most popular tourniquet on the market probably. And we're going to do that coming up next here on Survival on Purpose. Welcome back to Survival on Purpose. My name's Brian. Thanks for joining me. Since it's May, Stop the Bleed month, I thought this would be a great time to make one more plea to everybody watching to please carry a tourniquet with you at all times. If you already do, then maybe you'll find this tourniquet even better than the one you already carry. But first, a word from today's sponsor. Today's video is sponsored by Hog Holsters. Hog Holsters are made in the USA in Arizona, and they are without a doubt the most comfortable concealable holster I've ever tested. You can save 10% on your order at Hog Holsters by using the coupon code Survival on Purpose, all one word. That's hogholsters.com. Thanks to Hog Holsters for sponsoring today's video. So this, as I said, is the Snakestaff Systems ETQ, which stands for Everyday Carry Tourniquet. And you can see it is very, very compact compared to this full-size tourniquet. This is actually the discontinued Recon tourniquet. I think they lost a lawsuit, but it's the same size as a cat tourniquet, and you can see a significant difference. This one's about the size of a Glock 19 magazine. This thing is $32 is what it costs, so about the same price as a cat. By the way, this is made in the USA, and it's got some patent pending features we're going to take a look at. So let's just talk about the specs of this thing real quick. I'll read them to you because I've got notes here, and then we'll show you how this thing works and what I think is so cool about it. So first of all, this is the most compact windlass tourniquet I've ever seen. It is 65% smaller than a cat or soft T tourniquet. Let me just pull it out here and show you. So it has a carabiner windlass lock here. So after you rotate the carabiner, you push it in there and it locks, and you don't have to worry about it popping out like you might on some other tourniquets, including a cat tourniquet. It has a textured windlass, so obviously there's going to be blood there if you're wearing gloves or not. That keeps them from slipping, gives you a good grip. It has a little chem light built in that as this thing flexes, when you put it on, the chem light breaks and lets the EMS or emergency first responders find the tourniquet quickly if you're in a low light situation, so they know you got a tourniquet on there. I think that's a great idea. It even has instructions printed on the tourniquet, so if you're injured or unconscious, somebody that doesn't know what they're doing can read this and put a tourniquet on. There's even a QR code if they want to scan it, and it'll get a 30-second video on their phone. 30 seconds is a long time when you're bleeding, but it's better than not getting a tourniquet on, right? So the tourniquet is 37.5 inches in total length and 1 inch wide. We're going to talk about that in just a minute. Don't worry. So this will go around pretty much the biggest leg I've ever seen. But what's really cool is also it'll get down to a minimum of 1 inch diameter and still cinch up. 1 inch diameter. So it's also good for canines and children. And like I said, we're going to talk about the 1 inch thing in a minute, but they also have a wide version available also for $32, and it's 1.5 inches wide. So let's talk about that width thing. Let me show you what I've got here. Got a little foam roller here. This is the Snakestaff Systems ETQ 1 inch wide tourniquet. This is the standard cat tourniquet, which has a 1.5 inch wide strap. But you can look and see here, inside the part that actually constricts is only 1 inch wide. So what I thought we'd do, this is what they recommended doing to test it, so we're going to do that. We're going to take these things off of here and see what kind of, this thing's been on here for about going on almost 2 hours. Let's take this one off. This is going to be my designated practice tourniquet now. You should always, a training tourniquet, you should Tourniquets are really one-use items. You should always have a training tourniquet clearly designated as such. You don't want to use that for your main tourniquet. Just to show you, I'm not making stuff up. Hopefully, we'll zoom in on this where you can see it. I'm trying to do it with my left hand so you can see the numbers. So that's right there, about 1 inch. Looks real close to 1 inch to me, and that is also 1 inch. So even though the outer sleeve strap is 1.5 inches, you're really still only getting 1 inch of hard compression. So no big advantage on having the wider strap. That might cushion it a little bit, I don't know, but the big disadvantage is it's so bulky and takes up a lot of room. Okay, so hopefully that puts the width question to rest. As you can see, this has the same overall compression footprint as the larger, wider banded tourniquets, 1 inch wide. And the other thing that I know is going to come up, maybe not from you, but somebody's going to bring up, is it's not TCCC approved. So let me clarify something about TCCC. TCCC does not approve anything. TCCC reviews items and issues their findings. And maybe they make a recommendation based upon those issues, but it's not an approval process. And companies just cannot submit their items to TCCC for approval whenever they want to. TCCC has to have a review ongoing, or publish they're going to do a review, and then people can submit stuff to be reviewed. In the last 20 years, TCCC has only reviewed tourniquets twice, 2 times in the last 20 years. The last one is 2019. The folks at Snakestaff Systems have been in touch with them on a regular basis trying to see if they're going to have any more reviews so they could submit their tourniquet. And there's no reviews coming up that they know about, and there's even an indication there may not be any more. And by the way, I don't have any relationship with the folks at Snakestaff Systems. I saw these online and bought them. I've never talked to them. I got all this information off their website. So I don't have any dog in this hunt other than to try to find the best everyday carry tourniquet for myself and for you. So that being said, if you're familiar with tourniquets, you know this looks like just a smaller version of a standard windlass tourniquet. And so what you do is you put this thing on. The goal is to put it between the wound and your heart, as high on a limb as you can. You can't put a tourniquet on your neck, obviously, or on your waist. So it's only going to be for extremities, your arms and legs. And then you want it as high as you can, but not on the joint. And then the reason for that is even if you're cut down here, put as high as you can in case there's another injury or whatever. Or sometimes the arteries will kind of retract up in there. So you want to get as high as you can to make sure you can shut them off. And then put it on with the windlass facing you. I'm doing this on my strong. I'm right-handed, so I'm doing this with my left hand to make it at the maximum level of difficulty. And then the goal is you get up here high. Make sure there's nothing. If you got pockets on your pants or what are you doing on your leg, if you got pockets up here, you got pins in your shirt pocket or whatever on your sleeve, like some of those tactical shirts. Make sure all that's out, and then put the windlass towards you, because that way when you're pulling back, you got more leverage than trying to push away. And then the goal is you want to get it as tight as you can before you start doing any windlassing. So tight as you can, and then Velcro as far as you can get over there. Now you can start cranking it. Either way, it doesn't matter. But pull it up. It's going to be pretty tight. Get it up and start cranking that windlass. And the goal is, it's going to hurt, by the way. If it doesn't hurt, you're probably not doing it right. The goal is to stop the blood flow. So they ever show and stop blood flow with 2 turns, we'll try 2. I got 2 on there. It feels like it's working. I've had a lot of practice putting tourniquets on. I can tell when it feels like it's working. Feels like it's working. You can look at my hands. You see the difference in color? I got no pulse. That's just 2 cranks. Now you're supposed to, in a real situation, you want to put it on as tight as you can. But there's no pulse there at all. None. I got a pulse in the other. I can feel it clearly in the other one. No pulse. So, I mean, it's working. I can tell it's working from my experience. So, and now, to get it off, you're not supposed to take your own tourniquet off, especially in training, because you don't want to ever develop that scar. But there's nobody else here, so I'm going to do it. And don't tell anybody. And there you go. So there's a spot on here to write the time you put it on. You want to put the time you put it on so that the EMS will know. And again, I'll point out, I don't think it didn't break. This case, it didn't break the chem light. To my mind, it's a secondary feature. I don't care. This is the first one I've ever seen with the chem light on it. What I do care about is, does it work? It does work, and it is ever so compact. And what they say to do, just give you one more little tip in here about staging your compass. It's good to stage it so that you can have it exactly where you need it. So say give it about 1.5 inches, 2 inches here, and you got a big loop here, right? And then put that down beside your thing, and just start folding this. Let's see. On this, maybe on this side. There you go. Now you're going to stage this to put it in your pouch or whatever. Just fold it over a few times like so. You'll have a loop here. Bring that loop back over if you want to, like that, whatever. You can see it's pretty compact. Just to show you, got a couple of, this is a Glock 19 magazine pouch. This will fit in there pretty good. And this one doesn't have a lot of expansion on it. And it'll go in, push it on in there, so you can carry that on your belt. That's not going to be very obtrusive under your pants. Or, this is one of my favorite mag pouches. This is the Blue Force Gear 10-speed pouch. So it's elastic. So to get in there, you got to work a little harder to get it in the elastic because it's pretty tight, and this is a new one. So there you go. That's what you've got now. If you need to pull that out of your pouch, you can just reach down and grab it, pull it up, sling it open, you're good to go. Again, I highly recommend that you and everybody else carry a tourniquet with them at all times. If you can carry it on your person, because you just never know what's going to happen. And for those of us that play with sharp things and work in construction like I do or other things, there's injuries they just happen. And most people that die from blood loss don't die from, it's not from gunshots. It's just from everyday occurrences. Things happen, accidents happen. Then you have a much greater chance of being able to save yourself or somebody else from dying from massive blood loss. So it's a no-brainer to me. It's $30. Get 2 of them so you'll have one to practice. I know that's $60. I get it. But your training one will be just, you can use it over and over and over. And you do need to practice and train.
Chuck Norris's trash takes itself out.
That's the everyday carry tourniquet from the folks at Snakestaff Systems. And I got to say, of all the tourniquets that I've found, this is absolutely the best everyday carry tourniquet I have ever seen. Made in the USA, just very well made. Crosses all the T's, dots all the I's, and is not bulky. You can stick this in your pocket and carry it, even just in your pocket, very comfortably all day long. No big deal. So I hope this video has been helpful and informative. And if you're not carrying a tourniquet, I highly encourage you to do so. This removes, in my mind, all excuses as far as it's too big, it's too cumbersome, I don't want to fool with it, I'm not going to live that way. It's just stick it in your pocket. It'll fit in any pocket. It'll fit in your, stick it in your sock. I don't care. Just carry it, okay? I really appreciate you watching Survival on Purpose. Remember, survival's not an accident, so be prepared. I'll see you next time.